Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of our online learning. We're going to start getting into our topics right away. Here, our main focus for this first week is interactions and ecosystems. That's our overall topic that we're going to be discussing, but we're going to really look at what interactions and ecosystems is about, what the definitions are, what the words mean, and all that kind of stuff. So this is our homepage we have here. We actually have a picture of an ecosystem with a lot of living and non-living things in it. Let's move on. Okay, so remember you guys, this is online learning. So we are changing the way that we learn. It's going to look a lot different. You guys won't be able to ask me questions directly, and that's okay. Just make sure that you guys come and visit us during our office hours. For me, particularly, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 until 1. You can come meet us on Google Meet and ask any questions that you want. So you'll have access to these documents, so this PowerPoint and the videos that I make, and so you can continuously look at them and use them to find answers and to study from them. You can always rewatch the videos over and over again and make sure you understand the topics that we're discussing. So it's really important that you don't just watch it one time. Sometimes when I'm watching a video, I'll rewind it 2 or 3 times just to make sure that it's working. Now, I really want to emphasize, I can't emphasize this enough. Please come and visit us during our office hours to ask us questions or even just to say hi. It would be great to see you guys since we don't get to see you every day. So make sure you guys are please taking advantage of that as much as possible um, for questions and just to say hi. So we're going to go to the next slide. So lesson 1, what does ecosystems and interactions mean? So in this, we're going to include the definition of biology, the definition of a biologist, the definition of ecosystems, the definition of interactions, and the differences between biotic and abiotic discussions. So right now, what you guys should really be thinking about is, do I know the definition of biology? What is biology? What's a biologist? Biology and biologists, they kind of sound similar. They have very similar spellings. So that must mean that they might be related in somehow. Yeah. Next, we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so introduction to interactions in ecosystems. I really want you guys to know that some of this content that we're going to be talking about is very familiar. You have learned about it before, and that's okay. It's really important that, especially when we're learning a new way of learning, like online, it's important that we try to be as successful as we possibly can. And sometimes that's going and learning knowledge about different topics and knowledge that we have to refresh it, and then we build on top of that. It just makes it easier that way, especially since we can't be in the class with you guys as much. So I chose the interactions and ecosystems unit because it is a diverse subject with many different opportunities for learning. So you guys can learn about a lot of different topics and a lot of different interesting topics. We could spend all year probably on this unit alone if we really wanted to. I also find that usually people are interested in this topic a little bit more than some of the other ones. Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide. So again, or introduction to interactions in ecosystems. Overall, our discussion during this online unit will be trying to answer some of the following questions and more possibly. So what is an ecosystem? Why do we talk about ecosystems? Why is it important that we talk about the interactions within ecosystems? What does interactions mean? What are some of the alternative thoughts about our relationships with ecosystems and environments? So, like Aboriginal thoughts opposed to European thoughts about ecosystems. What does diversity mean, and why is it important in an ecosystem? And how do humans play a big part in the way that ecosystems run and function? And why is it important for us as humans to pay attention to that? Okay, so we're going to go to the next slide. Now, what kind of science are we talking about when we're talking about ecosystems? So when we are talking about ecosystems, we are looking at an area of science that is called biology. Now, biology is the study of living things. These things can include plants, animals, fungi, algae, bacteria, and viruses. Even the virus that's kind of going on around right now, the coronavirus, that is a living thing that biologists are studying to understand how it functions to hopefully find a way that we can cure it and that type of stuff. So a biologist is a scientist who studies biology. So biologists try to understand the natural world and the things that live in it. Um, so again, you guys make sure that you ask me any questions that you have during my office hours. Okay, so what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is made up of all the living and non-living things in the area. This includes all of the plants, animals, and other living things that make up communities of life in an area. An ecosystem also includes non-living materials, for example, water, rock, soil, and sand. If you look at this picture here, that's what they've included a lot in this picture. So you have the trees, that would be living. We have little communities of plants. We have some of the animals. We have fish down here. We have birds up here. We also have the habitats of the animals. And then we have the non-living things, like we have the rain, we have fire, we have sun. All of this stuff all together equals an ecosystem. And with these ecosystems, it allows the different living things to function and live there. Okay, we'll be moving to the next slide. Okay, so an important side note, when we're talking about living and non-living, we got to look at some of the curricular words or curriculum words that we're going to come across. So an example of living, a curricular word for living, is actually biotic. And if we break down that word, like you see in the picture right here, you see bio equals life. So biotic means what's living. We look at the little pictures that they have for examples. We have a lion and a giraffe. They're living, right? We have humans, they're living. We have plants, they're living. And we have little tiny bacteria, that type of stuff. Now, abiotic. Abiotic is an example of not living. So they broke down this word as an A, which means without, and biotic, that means life. So we put that together, it means without life or non living. Abiotic is non living. So we have different weather, like rain, wind. We have the temperature, that's non living. We have things like volcanoes exploding. We have like the earth. Now, the reason why it's really important to understand the difference between biotic and abiotic is because all of these things coexist together. They live together to make it so that they can survive and function. Without rain or moisture, plants wouldn't be able to grow. Without sun, plants wouldn't be able to grow and live. Um, and those types of things. Even with humans, without sun, humans would have a difficult time living. That's where we get some of our vitamins and that type of thing. Okay, so now the definitions for abiotic versus biotic. Before I move on, I just want to remind you guys that you guys will be asked questions on this stuff. So it's important to keep in mind where these definitions are, because you'll have to answer them by the end of this video. Now, abiotic versus biotic. Biotic means anything living. Plants, animals, microbes, for example, are all living organisms. So they are considered biotic parts of the environment. So again, biotic means living, to live. Plants, animals. If you look at these pictures over here, I have some examples of different living things you can find in the environment. Now, abiotic. Abiotic are factors that are non-living factors in the environment or ecosystems that we're talking about. Like temperature, is it hot or cold? That's not living. Light, water, and nutrients in the soil. Those are things that are not living, that help an ecosystem thrive or live. So if you look at this picture, we have some examples over here. We have fire. That's non-living. We have an empty glass that's filled with actual air. That's also not living. We have water in this glass that's not living. Now, this one's kind of a weird glass. You have non-living, which is the soil and the nutrients for plants to grow, but the plant is actually biotic because it is living. Okay, so what does interaction mean? Now, interaction in the biological context, interactions refers to the way living and non-living things coexist. So I know that sounds like a really big sentence, but if we're going to break it down, you guys, it's basically in its basic forms is saying interactions is just a way that living and non-living things, so biotic and abiotic things, react and coexist. And how do they make sure that can each other can thrive together and survive? Because the ultimate goal of biotic things or living things is to survive, so to eat, to drink, to have shelter, so that they can reproduce, which is just means simply having babies to continue on existing on Earth. Okay, you guys. Now that we've looked at our first lesson on interactions and ecosystems, it's time to go to our assignment, which you guys will find in Google Classroom. So it's going to be called Assignment 2: Ecosystems and Interactions. If you guys notice, because I'm going to be using the Google, or you will be using the Google Slides to answer a lot of these questions, that I have the slides open, which you guys should too, because I've shared it with you, and you guys will have the assignment open as well. So now I'm going to go over the assignment just so that you guys know what to do when we are looking and trying to complete this assignment. Now, what it says is it says assignment 2, ecosystems and interactions. So please watch lesson 1, ecosystems and interactions, which is what I just showed you guys, me going through the slides and kind of explaining some of the stuff that we're doing. Okay, now this week you'll be looking at the Google Slides I sent you in this week's lesson, which is called Science and Interactions. Ecosystems, we will be focusing on slides from 1 to 10. So if you notice up here, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So those are the slides that you're going to be focusing on and finding a lot of your answers from. Now, goals for today's lesson: you will define biology. You will be able to define the term biologist. You will know the difference between biotic and abiotic. You'll be able to define the term ecosystem. You'll be able to define the term interactions. Now, this is where you fill in your answers. So it says assignment. Use the Google Slides provided or Google to complete and answer the questions below. So, question 1, find the definition for the word biology. Question 2, find the definition for the word biologist. Question 3, find the definition for the word ecosystem. Question 4, find the definition for biotic. And then you're going to find or give me 3 picture or word examples of biotic things. And then question 5, find the definition for abiotic, and then give me an example of 3 abiotic things. And then you're going to, for question 6, give me the definition of interactions. What is the definition of interactions? And then you're going to give me an example of how 2 things interact in an ecosystem. So this is a lot. It's going to be a little bit confusing. That's okay, you guys. Remember, watch the video again, use your slides to answer these questions. Now, I'm going to go back at the top and I'm going to show you guys kind of how to do the first one. Okay, so I'm looking to answer the first question. It says find the definition for the word biology. So I'm going to go through the slides and I'm going to go down and I'm going to look for where I have talked about biology. So I don't see it yet. Oh, here it is. It's on slide 6. Okay, so it's on slide 6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the word biology. Oh, I found it. It says biology is the study of living things. So I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to type in the document biology is the study of living things. And if you wanted to, you could give an example. Example, rabbits. Mr. Boyce. Hey, oops, I made a spelling error. That's okay. Fixed. Okay, you guys, good luck. Remember, come see me from 11 till 1 during my office hours on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays to see if you guys, if I can help you guys in any way and answer some of your questions. Or else, what you could do is you could still go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You'll just see Miss Simiana and Miss Kushner. Thanks a lot, you guys, and I hope you have a good day.